basic art of Jiu-jitsu. The art is, how do I control and submit my opponent using the least amount of attributes, strength, speed, explosion, weight, and youth, and the maximum amount of leverage, cunningness, and guile. That's the art. The sport is, how do I control and submit my opponent within the man-made rules of the game using all of my moves and my attributes? The street is, how do I survive but defeat my opponent using everything, including the environment? So, in my mind, I think street, but I don't practice street because it quickly devolves into eye gouging and all this other weird stuff. But in my brain, it's how I think. And back when, in the early 90s, when a sport was blowing up, there was kind of the old school that didn't like what was happening. How it was starting to turn into a thing where you would be here and holding on when really it's raining knuckles. And so a lot of the old school guys hated open guard. But open guard would have never evolved if we allowed strikes. No one would have an open guard. Things evolve because we create an environment, and then whatever we're allowed to actually use or pushed into, whether it's the rubberized mat, change the environment, that's how it all changed. And then for a while, the closed guard was almost abandoned. It was almost abandoned because everyone went open guard. There's a huge fat, hey Lahiva, why even close? Just do a flying, hey Lahiva sweep. You don't have to do flying triangles, all this stuff, right? Now, a closed guard, from my perspective, in general, is when his hips are inside of my knees. Whether my ankles are crossed or not, when his hips are within my knees, he's in a closed guard. When his hips are out of my knees, it's open guard. Closed, open. The closed guard, the whole key is you have to have a core. And as I've aged, and I'm 50 now, and I got this bowling ball in my gut, it's a little bit harder. But this is the key to closed guard. It's this. Which is really hard for my weak ass abs now. Because when he's in the guard, I have to move his body. I have to own his hips. If I'm all hands and this, I'm not going to do anything. I don't have any base. It's all in my hips. That's a closed guard, right? And so the first thing you're going to do is just grab your opponent, lock your legs, and rock them around. Remind yourself that as a primate, you're too into your hands and your grips. And you forget your hips. Remind yourself that. And so, for purity's sake, when he's in posture, his hand can hit my face and I can't hit his. It's the dynamic of closed guard. And I remember I learned this, my second private from Hoist Gracie, is when you're here, this hand hits and I can't hit. That sucks, right? Now in a pure grappling, I don't have to worry about that. But in the purity of the art, what I got to worry about at all times are his hands and his head. So my legs control his hips, and my grips control his hand and his head. So if I'm holding here, he can't punch, even if my eyes are closed. I know it's coming. If he wants a headbutt, I can feel it coming, and redirect his head. Okay? So, while I'm here, I'll hold his hands and redirect his body, move out of the way, and cup the back of his head. This is just old school with jiu-jitsu. So now I have his hand and his head. And then, of course, your classic closed guard moves are a triangle. His hips are still in my knees. That's closed guard. Armbar. Rise to the occasions. Arm over the back. To the back. Pop around. And that's like just the old school attacks. So, number one, you guys are going to grab the hands. Once you rock them, we'll control the head. Enter the collar, grab the label. Put your other hand in, hold the head, because otherwise you're going to headbutt me. And the hand's over here, it's going to punch me. Punch me. I got to kind of stop it, you see? I stay tight and close. Then I'm going to pop them around and choke. Not all slow and but I'm here. He's squirmy, moving around. Look, I'm going to pop and turn. And I don't squeeze with my arms. I choke with my legs and movement. So I'm here. I just turn my body, and he chokes. I have my grips, my body moves, and he chokes. If I just squeeze, I don't got it. Like, oh, I forgot that I have hips and legs. I'm getting all into my fucking hands. But no, I grab the grips, I move my hips a little bit, I turn, and he chokes, okay? One last time.
Yeah, he does.
So here, hands here. I'm lifting him off of his base, and I'm spinning as I do it with a little bit of spin. Lock it, grip it, sink, pop and turn, shift your body. Okay, let's do it. All right.
Look at your ass.
And so here's my closed guard. I'm a hip-oriented grappler. Pure sport, I can have my arms here and he's punching me. But old school, when I make a shift, I'm still over his arm. And so even if my eyes are closed, I can feel with the punch. Well, grappling is a feel sport. But boxing is impossible blind. But you can grapple blind very well. And your eyes will lie to you. When I look over here, oh, that looks really short to reach up and grab his collar. And I miss hand control. Now I'm being hit. So it's all about the hands and the head in the old school. I'm here, even if he headbutts, all I got to do is bring his arms up and block, redirect. Now I shift, and I'm over his arm. So when I enter that choke, I'm going to feel when his punch comes out. Then my arm comes up, and I can catch it, right? However, I'm going to get it. I got to be constantly watching his hands and his head. And what will happen is it will improve your art of jiu-jitsu if you do that. If you think street, don't fucking start punching each other. But if you think that way, I'm going to improve my jits. If I have no worry at all, I'm going to get hands or head, I'll do all kinds of stuff, and I'll get all loose, and I'll start playing all this stuff, which is all cool, but I will lose my basics. So here I am. I reach across while controlling his arms as I go, and using my legs. Make sense? So in the guard, I don't really want him here because he wins in the striking battle. I want him here, right? And if he isn't there, he's got great posture, I'm going to move out of the way of the strikes. I'm going to shift. My legs are weak and short, but he's still in a closed guard here. He's still in a closed guard. He's still in between my legs. And I want to maintain that in between leg thing. And I want to know where his hands and his head are at all times. Because otherwise I'm being punched. Punch at me. I mean, even just slap. Right? Still hands and head. And then I love when the head comes down there and you do the nutcracker. Bink. Right? Okay. So, one last time. So, my hands are here. Watch, I plane my body. Here's planing, this is rolling. I don't roll my body, I plane, I shift, I go over the arm, grab the lapel. Cross grip it over here. I reach up deep, grab the label. Love labels. You see my elbow goes into his chest as I use my legs, pull him forward. I push my legs back to make the space and shift. And then I bring my legs back down. Because I don't want him up here in the choke because he's punching me. I want him here, but punch me now. See, here I can move him around. And as he makes that punch, I'm actually just lifting his chin up and moving him over my body. Right? Punch me. Punch. Which would also lead them to make that post, which is why the Kimuras evolved. And the Americana, which was the move that Bob Anderson made when he was in Brazil with a young Hegan and a young, tough, up-and-coming Hickson. And many of the original guys adopted Bob's stuff, which was Greco. Many of the old school rejected it. So there is no such thing as one Brazilian Jiu-jitsu. There's no such thing as one Gracie family style. Everybody has their own style. And you know, on Hickson, I got to tell you guys, Hickson is one of those guys that when you meet him, especially in his prime, you are meeting a guy who I've never felt a more pure warrior in my life than Hickson's presence. Hickson was not a cocky, but his confidence was so strong that whether it's true or not, he believed that he could not lose. It's that PMA, power of the mind thing, right? Whereas me, Matt, Randy, Couture, we've all fought things, we've won, we've lost. In Hickson's mind, he will not lose. No matter how bad it gets, he will eventually, through the art of Jiu-jitsu, figure a way out and win. And very few humans have that so deep.